Lately, have you ever walked into a room and suddenly stopped, standing there for a moment, wondering why you came in? You look around. You try to retrace your steps. And for a few seconds, nothing comes to mind. Or maybe you were speaking to someone you know well, telling a familiar story, and suddenly the word you wanted just wasn't there. You paused. You searched for it. And the moment passed. At first, these moments often feel harmless, almost amusing. But when they begin to happen more often, a quieter thought can start to form. Is this just a normal part of getting older? Or is this something I should pay closer attention to? For many people over 60, these questions don't arrive with panic. They arrive slowly, during quiet moments, late at night, or early in the morning. And very often, people don't talk about them. They keep them to themselves. Today, we're going to talk about this calmly and clearly, without fear. This video is not about labels, diagnoses, or worst-case scenarios. It's about understanding patterns, noticing changes, and learning how to think about memory in a healthier, more grounded way. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer framework for understanding your own memory changes. You'll know which signs usually belong to normal aging, and which ones may deserve a closer look over time. Experts who study aging and memory agree on one important idea. Memory changes are not simply normal or not normal. They exist on a spectrum. Everyone forgets things sometimes. Everyone misplaces items. Everyone loses their train of thought now and then. The difference is not whether forgetting happens. The difference is how it happens, how often it happens, and what happens next. Here is the key shift in perspective. It's not about forgetting once. It's about the pattern of forgetting over time. When you begin to look at memory this way, it becomes less frightening and much easier to understand. In this video, we'll explore 3 signs that usually point to normal aging, followed by 3 signs that may deserve closer attention. Near the end, I'll also guide you through a simple self-check you can reflect on quietly at home. Let's begin with memory changes that are very common in normal aging. First, forgetting details, but remembering them later. Many older adults notice this with everyday objects. Glasses, keys, a phone, a remote control. At first, the memory feels completely gone. You may search around the house, retrace your steps, and feel mildly frustrated. Then, later on, sometimes while doing something entirely different, the memory suddenly returns. Oh, that's right. I left it on the kitchen table. This experience can feel puzzling, but it has a simple explanation. As we age, the brain retrieves information more slowly. The memory itself is still there. It simply takes longer to access. Think of it like opening a drawer that sticks a little. The contents haven't disappeared. You just need a bit more time and patience. What matters most here is what happens after the pause. If the memory returns on its own, or with a small hint, that is usually a reassuring sign. Now, think about this across time. 10 years ago, this may not have happened at all. 5 years ago, it may have happened occasionally. Now, it may happen once in a while. That gradual change matters more than any single moment. Second, relying more on reminders while still managing daily life. You may notice that you write more notes than you used to. You check your calendar more often. You set alarms or reminders for appointments, medications, or errands. You might double-check times before leaving the house, just to feel confident. But even with these changes, you are still living independently. You manage your finances. You prepare meals. You make decisions. You take care of your responsibilities. This does not mean your abilities are disappearing. In fact, many professionals see this as a healthy adjustment. Using reminders is a way of supporting your memory, not replacing it. It allows your brain to focus on what matters most. Over time, many people find that these tools actually reduce anxiety. When you trust your system, you worry less about forgetting. In other words, these strategies help protect independence rather than take it away. Third, memory lapses that are closely tied to stress, fatigue, or poor sleep. Many people notice that their memory feels worse when they are tired, anxious, or overwhelmed. After a restless night, thinking can feel slow and foggy. During stressful periods, words may not come as easily. But after rest, relaxation, or a return to routine, the mind often feels clearer again. This happens because stress hormones interfere with memory retrieval. This effect occurs at all ages, but older adults often feel it more strongly. What's important to notice is the direction of change. If memory improves when you are rested and calm, that is generally a positive sign. Up to this point, many of these experiences may sound familiar and possibly reassuring. Now let's talk about patterns that may deserve closer attention. These changes can look similar on the surface, but they behave differently over time. First, forgetting entire events, not just details. This looks like not remembering a conversation, a visit, or an activity at all, even when someone reminds you. It's not about forgetting what was said. It's forgetting that the conversation or event happened in the first place. For example, someone might say, "We talked about this earlier today," and it feels completely unfamiliar to you. There is no moment of recognition. No sense of, "Oh yes, now I remember." This can happen when new memories are not being stored properly. What matters here is consistency. If this happens once, it may not mean much. If it begins to happen repeatedly, that pattern deserves attention. Second, repeating the same questions or stories without awareness. Everyone repeats themselves occasionally. That alone is not concerning. What deserves attention is repetition that happens frequently and without awareness. This means asking the same question several times within a short period, without realizing it has already been asked. Often, family members notice this pattern first. They may gently say, "You already asked that," and be surprised when it feels new to you. Over time, this can create confusion or frustration for both sides. If loved ones mention this more often, it's worth pausing to notice the pattern. Third, difficulty with familiar tasks or orientation. This may show up as confusion while doing things you have done for many years. Managing finances may feel overwhelming. Following a familiar recipe may suddenly feel confusing. Driving or walking a well-known route may feel uncertain. This type of change goes beyond memory alone. It can involve planning, judgment, and spatial awareness. Getting lost in familiar places or feeling unsure during routine tasks should not be ignored. If any of these patterns sound familiar to you or someone you care about, you are not alone. Many people and families face these questions, and having a clear way to think about them is an important first step. If this type of guidance is helpful to you, consider subscribing to this channel. We focus on calm, practical health information for seniors, without fear or confusion. Now let's pause for a simple self-check. You don't need to answer out loud. Just reflect quietly. When you forget something, does it improve with reminders or hints? When someone points out a mistake, do you recognize it? Are you still managing your daily life independently? Now take that one step further. Notice these answers over time. Over a week. Over a month. Patterns reveal more than single moments. Let's take a moment to summarize. Normal aging often includes slower recall, occasional forgetfulness, and memory that improves with cues. Changes that deserve closer attention may include forgetting entire events, repeating questions without awareness, and difficulty with familiar tasks. Small changes matter. Patterns matter. And starting conversations early matters most of all. If memory concerns are increasing, persistent, or beginning to affect daily life, speak with a healthcare professional. An early evaluation does not mean something is wrong. In many cases, it simply brings clarity, reassurance, and peace of mind. In the next video, we'll talk about everyday habits that support brain health after 60. Simple, practical steps you can start today. Thank you for watching. And remember, noticing changes is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you are paying attention to yourself and your future.